Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me for today's episode of Crafting with Class. Today I'm sharing the July sheetload of cards with you. I've made these sunflower sunshiny cards and I hope you enjoy the process. I mentioned I'm using the July sheetload of cards by Call Me Crafty Al. This is a special edition 5x7 card, so of course she's going to give you the full size card, what it should look like once you complete it with all the directions. This sketch yields 8 cards, and of course she gives you the cutting guide. I will have a link to her channel so you can grab yourself one if you would like. Now typically I don't do 5x7 cards because I don't like that you can only get one card from one sheet of paper, but I had a stack, so I went ahead and did that with these. I'm using the Park Lane Fresh Air paper pad here. This is such a lovely pad, and so these sunflowers just really spoke to me. And so I'm going to be using these for the card, but I have used this pad already several times and it's just lovely. So I decided to go ahead and use it again. I'm using also this Full of Sunshine. I'm not using the Sunshine stamp set, but I'm using the die and those sentiments that go with it. And this is an old Spellbinders Sunflower Set 2. So I'm using the medium size flower and the leaf. And so this is what it looks like. And this is like one of the original ones from a long time ago. All right, so I have my card bases. Now, as you can see, when you put this on here, and if you follow the sketch, you have a lot of white space around that pattern paper, and you know me and white space, and we are not friends. So I decided to cut a panel that is just a 1/4 inch smaller, if that much, of pattern paper. And so I went ahead and cut that, and then I put it in the back so I'd have a little tiny bit of white around the border, which is perfect. And then I could lay that top panel, and that just, you know, set my heart right because of that white space. Now, let me give you a quick tip that I learned from Anna Griffin. So you have a 12x12 sheet of paper and you need 4 5x7 panels. Okay, so here you have a 5x7 panel, so I can cut one right there. I can flip it, and then I can cut a second panel, and I have a little bit left over, and then I can cut a third panel from the bottom, but that's not going to give me enough to give me 4. So what do? Now here's the tip that I learned from Anna. Now I drew it on the back so that you can see. So taking that 5x7 panel, you would put it at the corner, align it with the corner left. Okay, so there's your first 5x7 panel. You're going to rotate your paper, and now you have your second sheet. You're going to rotate it again, lining it up with the edges and corners, and then rotate it for the 4th time. So that is how you would get 4 5x7 panels, and you have one little 2x2 left over. So fabulous. I wish I would have learned this sooner. Now I have all the panels cut to size, including the extra panel that I'm laying out on my card base, and I have all the embellishment pieces that I'm going to add. Now I took inspiration from the pattern paper because these are a little bit different, colorways that you would traditionally see for a sunflower, but I was inspired by the pattern paper. So I took 2 of the sunflower die cuts and I just laid them, like staggered them together just to give that sunflower a little bit more fullness. And I adhered them in the center. I fluffed up just that top layer just to give it some dimension and a little bit more realistic look. And there's the little sunflower petals. For the leaves, I just added some detail with my white gel pen just so that it would match the pattern paper. So that was easy peasy to do there. And then I went ahead and adhered all the panels together. So I'm using my Nuvo Deluxe, my favorite adhesive. So I'm going to lay that top panel on top together like that, and then I am taking the strips that go along the bottom. So first I'm going to lay out that first strip, and I'm gonna just eyeball. I want maybe a 1/4 inch or so of space from the bottom, and I can line that up. But because the second one was a little bit trickier, I just used a scrap piece, and this is 1/4 inch. And I just used it to guide where I'm going to put that second piece. That way I know it's going to be straight and it's going to be lined up with the first one. Okay, now I can go ahead and adhere all of this to the card base. And these are pre-made cards that I am using that I had in my stash. Okay, so there is that. Now I'm going to take my gold gel pen, and instead of using cardstock behind these little border layers, I'm just going to use my gold pen to give it a little bit of definition without using more cardstock. I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. And so I'm just taking my gold gel pen and then just tracing next to the edge of that paper, and as you can see, it does make that pop out. So I decided to go ahead and do that also to the edge of that first panel. And because I don't know when to stop, I went ahead and decided to do that to that back panel as well, but it is definitely not necessary. I think it looked just fine like that before, but again, sometimes I just don't know when to stop. I don't know if any of you are like that, but I do need to work on it. I feel like I just need to leave things alone sometimes. All right, so here is my card base, and now I'm ready to add all of my little fun embellishments. So I am going ahead and just embellishing that little sunflower just to give it some dimension. I'm going to attach just the middle with some liquid glue. I'm going to place it kind of where I want to, and then I'm going to attach that middle section where the little seeds are. I'm going to put some foam tape and then just put that right on top, and then I'm going to go ahead and attach the leaves. So I'm going to again use some liquid glue to put those leaves kind of where I want, and I will fiddle with this for a while to get them exactly how I want them to be. Okay, so that's all good, and now I can attach the die cut sunshine, and I'm going to use, this is the diamond press little sticky dot things, and so I'm going to just use that because it's a very thin little die cut. And so I'm just going to burnish that in just to make sure that it picks up the little dots. I'm going to use my tweezers because I don't want to handle this because those little dots are sticky, so I don't want to handle it with my fingers. And I think that the key or tip to this is to not move it around. And so those dots will stick to the paper really well, but I feel like in my experience, you need to set it down and make sure you know where you're going to set it, because if you move it around, that's where those little dots are going to go everywhere and make a mess. So kind of commit to one place where you're going to put it, and I feel like that's where you get the best results. All right, so I added my tittle to that eye, and next I'm going to add that little sentiment above. And I used pretty much all of the ones that the stamp set came with. So this one says, "Sending you sunshine." And then I just attached that with a little bit of foam tape and right above the sunshine die cut. So really sweet. I thought I would add a little bit to that center of the sunflower. So I took my golden stickles and I just added some little dots. And these cards are going to my classroom stash for the new school year coming up. So yeah, that's it. These were so fun to make, and I love the fact that I got to go back into my stash and use some of my old stuff to make these cards. That's always a good thing. Thank you so much for watching, liking, commenting, subscribing, and I hope you enjoyed this card process, and I will see you in the next video. Have a lovely crafternoon. Bye!